The skies above Earth shimmered with an otherworldly glow as 1,000 alien ships descended from orbit. They weren't hostile, at least not openly, but their sheer presence blanketed the planet in fear and awe. Vast cruisers, bristling, with energy weapons, hovered over major cities, their shadows stretching for miles. Humanity, for the first time, stood face to face with the galactic stage. At the heart of this display floated the flagship of the Galactic Dominion, the Seraphons. Pride. Inside its council chamber, towering alien envoys prepared their declaration. They were beings of countless species, all united under the Dominion's crest. Their mission was clear, to bring Earth under their protection. Earth's leaders had been gathered in Geneva, the chosen site for the historic meeting. Presidents, generals, scientists, and diplomats sat at a massive oval table, their eyes fixed on the alien holograms flickering before them. The Dominion's High Marshal, a six-eyed colossus clad in silver armor, raised his clawed hand. His voice echoed like thunder. "People of Earth," he began, his tone dripping with authority. "You are fragile. You are young. The galaxy is vast, and its dangers are endless. Empires that consume worlds, pirates who scour the stars, void beasts that rend entire fleets. Alone, you will not survive. But the Dominion offers you salvation. Swear allegiance, and we will protect your planet for all eternity." The hall fell silent. Cameras broadcast the moment worldwide. Billions waited for their leaders to kneel in gratitude, to thank these mighty benefactors. After all, wasn't this the dream? Humanity, sheltered by ancient guardians? And yet, no one kneeled. Instead, the silence broke with an unexpected sound, a chuckle, then another. And soon, a ripple of laughter spread among the human delegates. The High Marshal's 6 eyes narrowed. "Do you mock us?" A man in a sharp black suit leaned forward, his gray hair catching the glow of the holograms. General Marcus Hale, commander of Earth's Joint Defense Network, smiled with unnerving calm. His words were deliberate, almost casual. "That's it? Really?" The aliens shifted uncomfortably. "Do you not comprehend?" the Marshal demanded. "We speak of annihilation, of horrors your species cannot fathom." Hale exchanged a glance with the president, who merely nodded. Then the general rose, clasped his hands behind his back, and spoke to the council as if explaining something to children. "Oh, we comprehend just fine, but tell me, Marshal, did you think we were blind? That we hadn't looked outward? That we hadn't seen the stars long before you arrived?" His smile widened. "You think we're unprepared?" The Dominion envoys bristled. A reptilian delegate hissed. "Your species has only just reached interstellar flight. Your fleets are primitive. You are ants in a galaxy of titans." Hale's grin sharpened. He tapped a device on the table. Suddenly, the walls of the chamber dissolved into a panoramic view of Earth's orbit. The alien envoys froze, because surrounding their fleet, invisible until now, was an armada. Massive human warships uncloaked one after another, their black hulls gleaming with a strange alloy that absorbed light. They dwarfed the Dominion. Cruisers, their angular frames bristling with weapons that hummed with restrained power. Dozens of carriers, hundreds of destroyers, thousands of drones. The sheer scale was staggering. A murmur of disbelief swept through the Dominion delegation. That is impossible," stammered the Marshal. "You cannot—" "Can't we?" Hale interrupted smoothly. He raised a hand, and one of the human ships, a colossal vessel named Resolute Dawn, powered its weapons. A beam of light speared outward, lancing through an asteroid floating on the edge of the system. In less than a second, the asteroid, miles wide, shattered into glittering dust. The ship powered down, almost bored by the demonstration. Hale's voice was calm, but his eyes burned like steel. "We don't need your protection. While you watched us from afar, judging us weak, we built. We adapted. We learned faster than you could imagine. We hid our strength because we knew the galaxy would underestimate us. And here you are, proving us right. The Dominion envoys were stunned into silence. They had come expecting submission, gratitude, perhaps even worship. Instead, they were being lectured by the very species they thought fragile. The president finally stood, her voice measured and cold. You speak of pirates, empires, void beasts. We know them. We've already fought them and won. We don't need guardians. What we need— She paused, letting her gaze sweep across the alien faces. Is to decide whether you are a threat to us. The marshal stiffened. You dare? General Hale stepped closer to the hologram, his smile returning. You came here thinking you held power. But power isn't numbers. It isn't centuries. Of history. Power is will, resolve, the determination to survive at any cost. And humanity has that in abundance. The silence that followed was suffocating. The Dominion delegation had no retort. They had miscalculated. Catastrophically. Outside, humanity's hidden fleet hovered in silent menace. Each ship was proof that Earth had already entered the galactic stage, not as children under protection, but as warriors standing tall. Humanity hadn't asked for guardians. They were the storm. The galaxy simply hadn't realized it yet. Finally, the president leaned forward, her words sharp as a blade. So tell me, High Marshal, do you still wish to offer us protection, or will you reconsider your tone? The alien's jaw clenched. His arrogance wavered, replaced by something unfamiliar. Fear. For the first time in his long career, he realized the Dominion had walked willingly into the lion's den. The humans were still smiling. The skies over Washington, D.C. shimmered with a violet aurora, unnatural and breathtaking. Moments later, a massive ship slid into orbit, its silhouette blotting out stars. Humanity watched with bated breath as the Aurelian, flagship of the Galactic Council, announced its arrival. For weeks, signals had warned of this visit, promising enlightenment, protection, and a new chapter in Earth's history. The Council was legendary. An alliance of 37 alien species, they ruled thousands of systems and considered themselves the galaxy's guardians. To the rest of the stars, their word was law. To Earth, they were a mystery. Until now, the landing was nothing short of theatrical. A delegation of alien envoys emerged from a pillar of light on the White House lawn. They were tall, regal beings draped in robes of living silk, their faces a blend of reptilian, insectoid, and crystalline forms. To the watching humans, they looked like gods descended from the heavens. The lead envoy, Counselor Velara, raised her forearms and spoke, her voice amplified across every screen and device on the planet. Children of Earth, you stand at the threshold of a vast and dangerous galaxy. Already predators circle your world. Pirate bands stalk the void. Rogue empires seek slaves. Beasts beyond your comprehension swim in the black oceans of space. Alone, you will perish. But under the Council's protection, you may endure. You need only accept our guidance, our oversight, our guardianship. Billions held their breath. For a moment, the weight of her words settled like chains over the human spirit. Was this the fate of Earth? To bow its head in exchange for safety? But then, in the grand chamber where Earth's leaders had gathered for the broadcast, a laugh cut the silence. It came from Ambassador Jonathan Reed, Earth's chief representative to extraterrestrial contact. His eyes twinkled with mischief, and his voice carried a warmth that contrasted sharply with the Council's cold arrogance. "That's it?" he asked, leaning forward in his chair. His smile was disarmingly casual. "Really? That's all you're offering?" The alien envoys shifted uncomfortably. Velara's crystalline skin pulsed with irritation. Do you not understand the dangers? Without our shield, your species will be annihilated. Reed chuckled, exchanging a knowing glance with General Sofia Alvarez, commander of Earth's defense. Corps, she smirked, as though she had been waiting for this moment. Counselor, Reed said, steepling his fingers, perhaps we should show you something before you embarrass yourselves further. With a subtle hand motion, Alvarez activated a control panel. The walls of the chamber transformed into a living projection, fed directly from orbital relays. The council envoys turned and froze. The Aurelian was no longer alone. Surrounding it, silent and still, were human ships. Not fragile rockets or crude stations, but vast steel leviathans, sleek and angular. There were destroyers with rotating coil cannons, carriers bristling with railgun batteries, and cruisers whose hulls shimmered with experimental shielding. And behind them, dwarfing them all, loomed the dreadnought Titan's Wrath. The alien. Envoys gasped audibly. That is impossible, one whispered. Your species was only recorded achieving FTL a decade ago. Alvarez's smile widened. That's what you thought. While you dismissed us as primitives, we were building, testing, fighting. You spoke of pirates? We wiped out their nests before they even reached our colonies. Rogue empires? Their fleets lie in pieces at the edges of our claimed space. As for the so-called beasts you warn of, she tapped another control. On the projection, footage rolled. Grainy but clear, colossal shadow creatures writhing in the void, their bodies like living nebulae. And then, a barrage of human weapons, kinetic lances and antimatter torpedoes, tearing the monstrosities apart. The council envoys recoiled in disbelief. Reed leaned back in his chair, voice light but cutting. You came here to frighten us with bedtime stories. We've already fought those nightmares, and we didn't just survive, we adapted. Every battle made us stronger. Every enemy taught us something new. Velara's crystalline form flickered, her composure slipping. You cannot rival the council. Our authority spans the stars. Reed's grin sharpened. Authority means nothing without strength to back it up, and strength means nothing without the will to use it. Tell me, counselor, which of those do you think we lack? For the first time, the council delegation faltered. They had expected awe, gratitude, perhaps submission. What they faced instead was amusement, as though Earth saw their threats as little more than a child waving a wooden sword. General Alvarez stood, her boots echoing against the chamber floor. Her words were a hammer striking iron. We don't need protection. We don't need permission. What we do need is to know if you're going to be allies or obstacles. Choose wisely. The council envoys stood in silence, their pride cracking, beneath the weight of a truth they had never considered. Humanity was not begging for a place in the galaxy. Humanity was already here, and ready to claim it. The room fell quiet. Cameras broadcast every second to billions around the world, and across Earth people were no longer afraid. They were smiling, just like their leaders. The aliens had come to bind Earth in chains of protection. Instead, they had stumbled upon a species that had forged itself into steel and fire, and now the galaxy would never be the same. The Protectorate Armada arrived without warning. Across the skies of Earth, the night rippled with streaks of silver light as colossal alien ships emerged from hyperspace. The fleet stretched across the heavens, 1,000 vessels strong, each one gleaming with the polished arrogance of an empire that had never known defeat. Cities trembled under their shadows, and the world's networks lit up with panic. This was not the Council. This was not the Dominion. This was something older, the Protectorate, a coalition of warrior races who prided themselves on one singular mission: to protect lesser civilizations from the dangers of the galaxy. but their protection always came at a price. Submission, loyalty, control. On the deck of the flagship Sanctuary's Vow, High Lord Kareth surveyed Earth's oceans through a massive viewport. His 6 tusks curled upward in a grin of superiority. To him, Earth was small, backward, naive. His advisors had warned him that humans were unruly, but Kareth saw only a primitive species desperate for guidance. "Transmit the proclamation," he ordered. Moments later, a holographic broadcast appeared across every human city, projected into the skies. Kareth himself appeared, towering and armored in gleaming gold, his voice carried with artificial thunder. "People of Earth," he declared, "you are vulnerable. Alone, you will not survive the endless horrors of the stars. But fear not, the Protectorate offers salvation. Kneel, and you shall be guarded. Defy us, and the void will consume you." The message was designed to terrify, to crush resistance before it began. It had worked countless times before, but on Earth, something different happened. In Geneva, where humanity's unified council now gathered, there was no panic, no fear, only silence, followed by a ripple of quiet laughter. President Elena Ward glanced at General Marcus Hale, then at Admiral Kaori Tanaka. Both were grinning. And when the transmission ended, she leaned forward toward the communications. "A ray." Her voice was calm, amused, almost mocking. "That's it? Really?" The words echoed across the Protectorate fleet. Translators rendered them instantly. On the bridge of the Sanctuary's Vow, Kareth blinked, stunned. "What did she say?" She dismissed your warning, my lord," one of his aides whispered, trembling. Kareth's tusks flared in disbelief. "Dismissed!" Back on Earth, the council chamber stirred with contained energy. Admiral Tanaka stood and tapped a wrist control. In orbit, humanity's secret answered. One by one, vast shapes shimmered into existence around Earth. Warships, hundreds of them, decloaking from their spectral veils. Carriers the size of mountains. Dreadnoughts whose hulls bristled with rail cannons the length of city blocks. And at their center, a Titan, the Aegis Eternal, Earth's first super-dreadnought forged in silence on the far side of the moon. The Protectorate fleet faltered. Their formations wavered as sensors scrambled to comprehend the impossible. How had a species so young built ships so advanced, so numerous, without their notice? On the human side, Admiral Tanaka's voice came through the comms, cold and razor-sharp. "You arrive here declaring yourselves our guardians, yet your fleet is surrounded. Your weapons are aimed at us, and you expect obedience? Tell me, High Lord, who exactly is protecting whom?" For the first time in his long career, Kareth felt uncertainty creep into his chest. His officers exchanged nervous glances, their tusks drooping. This cannot be," he muttered. "Your people were primitives." "Were," President Ward interrupted, her words cutting across the comms like steel. "But you never bothered to look deeper, did you? You saw only what you wanted, fragile creatures bound to one world. While you underestimated us, we prepared. We fought our wars, we survived our storms, and we built a fleet not to beg for protection." Her lips curled into the same grin that now spread across every human face watching the broadcast. "But to ensure no one would ever threaten us again." The silence that followed was unbearable. The Protectorate, who had stood as self-proclaimed guardians for millennia, suddenly looked very small. Their glorious golden fleet, once unmatched, now stared down weapons of terrifying design. Kareth's advisors whispered frantically, "We must retreat! If they fire!" But Kareth's pride burned hotter than his fear. He slammed a clawed fist against the console. "No! They are bluffing! No species could have advanced this far, this fast! Fire a warning shot! A single Protectorate cruiser broke formation, charging its plasma lances. It never finished. The Aegis Eternal opened fire. A single rail round, accelerated to near-light speed, cut across the void and tore the cruiser in half. The explosion lit the skies, fragments burning like falling stars into Earth's atmosphere. Gasps echoed across the Protectorate fleet. On Earth, however, billions erupted into cheers. Humanity had just made its answer clear. Admiral Tanaka's voice, steady as stone, filled the comms. "That was your warning shot. The next one won't miss." High Lord Kareth's tusks quivered. The smile he had worn hours before was gone, replaced by a grimace of disbelief. He stared at the human fleet arrayed against him and realized the truth. The galaxy had changed, and he had walked straight into its storm. In Geneva, President Ward's smile lingered. Not a smile of arrogance, but of certainty. Humanity didn't need guardians. Humanity had become the force that others would look to, or fear. The Protectorate Armada withdrew that day, its golden fleet limping back into hyperspace, its reputation shattered. Word of what happened spread like wildfire across the stars. For the first time, whispers echoed in alien halls. The humans don't need protection. The humans are the protectors, and in every corner of the galaxy, whenever a species thought of Earth, they remembered that smile, the smile that changed everything,